Alright Dale, let's do this remake. So I'm just going to make this a long form video and edit out the boring parts later. So if it's cutty, jumping around, that's just the editing. First thing I did was look at the track. It's 325, so I know this is the radio edit. So I downloaded the extended mix off of ZippyShare, the 320. So the original, I'll just go back and undo what I did here. Had this section here plus an outro. So this was the whole 4 minute and 25 extended mix. So I listened to where he cut it to get the radio mix, and basically what he did was he took off this last 8 here, boom, cut that out, and then the first entire 16 was out, and now we have 323, right? So to 125 BPM, 325. Use the BPM counter to double check that. Beautiful, we're at 125, and now we have the exact cut from the Spotify radio edit, since that's the one we're going to remake. So I went through, and just to make sure that we're like snapped to the grid, made sure that these are like right on, so that way we can cut and chop and not worry about it. Okay, next thing I did was I inserted some markers. I did this all off screen, but here's basically what it is. The intro is made up of 3 8-bar sections. So this yellow loop we'll use to count the 8s. So basically you got 8, 8, and 8, and that takes you through the entire intro. It's 24, 3 times 8, 24, and that takes us to 45 seconds. So there's a 1-bar break here. 1, 2, 3, 4. For all intents and purposes, I'm going to say that this drops at 45, because that's 3 sets of 8 at 125 ends up being at about 45 seconds. And obviously everything gets pushed back. Instead of it being right at 25 here, it actually drops at 26 because of the 1-bar break. But I'm just going to talk about it all in even 8s to keep it even. So the first section is the filter down piano, and that's 8. And it builds. Now it adds some more percussion, builds more energy for the next section of 8. Now here's the variation where they chop the piano and it continues to build energy. The snare roll is introduced in the third 8. And there's the first drop. So the drop consists of another section, 3 8s, starting with the first. And the last bar in the 8 is a fill. So that's the first 8. The second 8 does the exact same thing. There's that 1-bar fill. That's the beginning of the third 8. It's a variation where they filtered up the bass and have the kick in. So that is a 2-bar variation. That's here, 2-bar variation. And then again, the last 8, or the last bar of the 8 is a fill. And then that takes us right here to the break. So analyzing this, it makes it really simple, because basically this is 2 sections of 24 that are just repeated. The intro mirrors the second break, the first drop mirrors the second drop, with a couple of variations. We'll talk about that in a second. But basically it's 3 sections of 8 building an energy, and then it's 3 drops, or 3 sections of 8 during the drop. That is basically just a groove with all the instruments in, and the last bar is a fill. So when you're thinking about, writing tracks, if you chop it up like this, basically you only have to make an 8-bar loop, then repeat it 3 times and build energy, and then a B section or a different section that's an 8-bar loop with variations to keep it building energy, and then you just repeat that again. Here, this one mirrors this one, and this one mirrors this one. right? And so the second drop just has a variation of that. And same thing, at the end of each 8-bar phrase, there's a 1-bar drum fill. Then 7 bars of groove and a 1-bar fill. Another 7 bars of groove, 1-bar fill. And this section would be the 24. Right there is the same as this here. All he did was he added an extra 8. It's basically repeated. The groove continues, a little bit filtered down, and it has that same 1-bar fill. And that's it. So you can see how it's really easy. You take an A section, a B section, structure them into 24-bar, rising energy sections, and then repeat them with some variations, and that's all you have to do to make this kind of track. Super simple if you understand the form. So that's why I love doing this breakdown in the sections, because it kind of demystifies everything, right? You can see that it's just composed of an A and a B section of 3 different 8-bar sections that build an energy. Okay, so now we'll get into remaking the sounds. So the first thing is the piano. Now I went through and I already did this off screen also, but basically it's really simple. There's only 3 chords in this song. It's a G minor, which consists of G, B flat, and D. Sounds like this. The second chord is a F major, which comprised of F, A, and C. So G, G, F, G, G, F. And then he goes up with it, so he goes G, G, A, right? G, G, F, G, G, A. And this chord is here. Oh no, sorry, here. That's the A minor. So it's composed of A, C, and E. And the second time it goes G, G, A, G, G, A. And that's pretty much it. I doubled it, so it's got, this is the original part. I did it also in first inversion, which means the third is in the bass. So D, G, B flat instead of G, B, D flat. That's first inversion with a second octave down here, creating that nice full sounding chord. That's it. So that's just a piano sound from Triton. The Korg Triton has a lot of like really good kind of old school techno sounding pianos. So here is the piano layer now. I'm looking for something to fatten it up a little bit, just to get these two really working nicely together. So I'll search piano here. Throw this on a loop. I kind of like that one. That one's got like a weird noise to it. Alright, we'll just keep that for now. And then we'll go back to the arrangement to figure out what was going on here. Alright, so the rhythmic pattern changes here after the first 4 bars. Starting at bar 5, we're missing a hit here. So it's, let me lower the volume so you can hear what's going on. So you hear this one has that second piano hit here, right there. So we need to add this here now. Oh, right there also. Just gonna do it again over here. And it sounds like there's nothing on this section. So we'll double that. We need to group these into a single instrument. So this is basically a summing track or a layer stack. It's called different things in different DAWs or whatever. But it lets you basically, both the pianos are routed into this fader. So now we can affect these how we want. So I can add some stereo effects here. Alright, change the patch a little bit. These ones work nicely together when they're stereo panned. Okay, that creates a nice stereo effect. Doesn't have to be as wide. Okay, that's good enough for now. So the point of doing this one was that we can add a filter on it. So the micro is a really simple filter. Okay, so it sounds like this has a low pass that slowly goes up over the first 8, and then it opens up completely at 9. Also, listen for the EQ of that piano. It's got a lot of the low end missing. Ours is too bassy right now, so let's do that. Put the EQ in front because we want to filter after the... Get rid of the original. Sounds pretty close to me. And we put the filter on it. We get started about there. Then we'll do the automation. Frequency. Sounds like it's building. And then I think it completely opens up at 9. Yeah, something like that. Next thing I heard was the classic side-chained string. So we'll find a string real quick. I'll use Triton again because it's easy. String. This one sounds close enough. Alright, that's a note right there, it's a D. That one also has some volume automation on it, so let's just record a long note. Okay, quantize real quick, Control Alt, Q, quantize, shorten this up, hold Shift, so it snaps, leave the velocity as it is. I never automate volume on these channels because it messes up the mix later. So I'll do it, automate the gain here, and basically this is what I use for volume automation. So that way I still have the fader to move up and down later when I'm mixing. Starts low, almost inaudible. There's no EQ, sounds like no EQ change on it. Sounds like it's just gain. So I'll have this go to 0, close enough. And then I'll use the fader to mix it. So this is really quiet, so I'm gonna do compression just to bring it up. Okay, so that's up. Listen again. Okay, so it sounds like there's 2 claps going on here. There's one filter down stereo with a lot of reverb. And then there's one up front there, so he's got different layers of claps. We can start adding those. I'll add in my drum machine, which will be a battery. Stay organized. String. Drums. Okay, so the first thing is I'll just pencil in the claps. There's one clap there. Why is it so long? This is the first clap, and this one is going to be this is E. So I'm going to get rid of that sound, and I'm going to go for a layered clap that I can filter down. That one sounds pretty good. And what I'll do is I'll probably add another one triggered on the same note. And then pan them left to right. Check the output here. This is going to 1718. We'll call this clap 1. Next one is going to be triggered on the E note. So we'll do that. Actually mute this one because we don't need this one right now. So here's our 2 claps. We'll call this one clap left, clap right. Okay. Thinking now is a decent time to add the reverb. So what we can do is, let's say bus 2. And then let's go with Valhalla Vintage. Both of these being sent to bus 2. Doesn't have to be perfect for now, just a placeholder. I can tweak the settings later. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so the next thing is at bar 5, this is when the second clap comes in. So I can come in here, unmute this one. I know that's my dry clap. I can even change that here to dry clap so I know what it is. Yeah. Let's listen to what we got so far. Okay, sounding pretty good. We had to filter down the claps. Next thing we can do, we can also just send this piano over to that reverb. There we go. That's sounding pretty housey. Okay. How are we gonna do this? Clap filtering. Okay, what we can do is we can do a drum bus. So I'll select all of these and I'll make the output bus 3. So now all these are all outputting to bus 3, which is perfect. That's what I wanted. Call this one drum bus. Actually, I need to stay organized. This is the reverb. So on the drum bus, we're going to copy this Fab Filter Micro, because this is a really nice filter. Aha, we run into a problem. You see, this is a good example of why signal flow is important. So right here, we're sending into the reverb, and then after the reverb is we're going to bus 3. Then from bus 3, we're going into this Fab Filter Micro. So we're sending the unfiltered sound into the reverb. That's why even though this is low passed, we still have full frequency reverb. And that's not what we want. Also, the pattern is different. This should be on every quarter note. So what we're gonna need to do is automate both of these independently, which is fine. It's just one extra step, but that's okay. We're embracing the hard work. So what we're gonna do is create tracks for each of these, clap left and clap right. Now we have 2 tracks here, and we can go into the automation, FF micro, frequency. Now we're getting the reverb after the filter, which is exactly what we want. So we'll do that to both of these channels. Just totally open it up here at bar 9. So here we go. Okay, we'll take a quick listen with the other instruments to see how much filter we need to do here. Should be a little bit more filtered down. Something like that, yeah. We gotta change this pattern here. So this is our layer clap. Okay, that's sounding pretty good. Okay, so I think we're only missing 2, maybe 3 elements here. The first one is the impact. This is a standard like EDM impact. That one with some reverb on it, and then obviously the vocal sample. There's the dry clap coming in, and then on the last bar we have it's a reverse stretched out vocal. So we'll get into making that sound. So can find an impact. It's a little bit too long. Hits and explode. This is the folder we're looking for. This one sounds pretty classic techno. I think that'll work nicely. We'll just drop that in. Can also send this to our reverb. Not our bus. Drum bus or reverb. Lots of reverb. Next thing I'll do, I'll put these on a group, the claps, so that way I can adjust the volume on both of them simultaneously. Because they're too loud right now. Okay, that's sounding pretty close. I'm going to change this clap because it's a little bit too short. It needs to be a little bit longer. This is our dry clap. This one sounds okay. Okay, so a couple of things here. It sounds like there's it's a reverse white noise kind of thing, plus a shaker and a bass. So we can start building that up. A little compression on the shaker. Now we need the bottom end of this keyboard. So actually it doesn't sound like it's a bass, it sounds like they just open up the frequency here. So we'll do a little bit of automation on the low cut filter. So it has both a low pass and a high pass in this intro section. So we'll need to automate the channel EQ low cut frequency. Right now it's at 82, which is where we want it to be at measure 9. But before that, we want it to be up. Like that. And then we want to open up right at bar 9. Both ways, see? Frequencies open up and to the bottom. Like that. Alright, so I found a sample that I like that we can create this effect from. So it's this one. It's basically just an ah, and it's airy. So we'll drop that into Logic, and this is kind of like that classic Wolfgang Gartner. He uses it almost like a pad, and it's really cool. So you just get a chunk of it. I'll solo it. And then the effect comes from looping it. So there's that loop. You take out the low end. And then we'll pitch it to the key that we're in. Figure out what note this is. So I think that pitch works. And we can do a formant shift on it too. This is totally up to preference, but that's kind of a common housey sounding format. And next is to get it to sweep, so that's volume automation plus layering it with a reverse white noise. So there's that automation. And here's a sweep that we can use to layer it. Now in Logic you have to anchor this from the back because this is a reverse. Drop the anchor point there, line it up here, and we get and we gotta adjust the volume a little bit and the EQs to get them to blend. This one's a little loud. This one's not loud enough. We can add distortion. I like Bit Crusher. Alright, so we're almost done with the intro section. The next part is the build. So it's going to be the variation on the piano plus the snare roll. So first thing I heard was the long riser. So we can make that in Serum real quick. Put our effects up at the top too. This is going to be an 8-bar riser, so we can go ahead and pencil it in because we know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be one long note. We can, I think we're in the key of G, maybe G minor. We can start it on that G. We'll mess with it in Serum. And the last thing is automating the pitch bend. So here's pitch bend. Start it at 0. And then we'll go all the way up, max amount. Okay. That's that. We can just do, it sounds like it's just a sawtooth with reverb on it. That's what most risers are anyway, most simple risers. So we'll drop in a Serum. Here's your basic sawtooth. Add the pitch bend, 24. Now we need some reverb. And then we'll just find out what pitch it was starting on. Okay, so ours goes up over 2 octaves. It sounds like theirs goes up over 1. Doesn't really matter. I think 2 octaves creates more energy, but I think they start an octave below as well. So take this guy, drop him down an octave. Can EQ some of the low frequency out. Don't need this. Okay, close enough for me. Bring it down in volume. Next we'll add in those piano chops. So it's gonna be this here. It's just quarter notes on the piano. Do the same one for the layer. And that repeats through this whole section. Next thing will be the snare roll. So here's our drums. It sounds like a 909 snare. So we'll go for a 909. That's a classic snare roll snare anyway. It'll sound good regardless. Here's your 909. This one's good. Let's drop it in. Take this one. this is our F. And I think the rest of the drums continue also, so we can do this. And then we'll add in the snares on the F here. It's going to be straight 16th notes. That's 8th notes. Call this snare roll. Do the same thing. Put a gain on it. Automate the gain for volume. Need to create a track. Snare rolls here. Go for gain. Automation. Okay, let's see what else we're missing. Okay, so 21, the piano part doubles. Add that. Do this 4 times. Oops. Also double the claps here. Actually, I heard on that snare drum, not only did it have volume automation, it had a high pass filter also. So we can just do this one for the sake of quickness with EQ. Just automate the the high cut on the EQ. Channel EQ, high cut frequency here to here. Okay. This is the riser. It's a little bit too long. We'll fix it later. I think the shaker also continues here. Okay, the next thing that's in here is there's a classic Breakbeat sample that we have somewhere. There's a folder called Breaks. So I think it's this one. We can use that one and this one, I think. Not that one. Okay, we can use that one. Can also use that one. Okay, so now we got our breaks. So it starts here at 21. We'll mute this one for now. Just so we need to warp these to time. A little bit too fast. Let's use the flex time. We'll go flex time, add some markers here. Rhythmic. Okay, that's what we want. And it just loops. We will just distort this to get it saturated. Okay. Okay, so it sounds like there's a little bit of the variation on that break loop in this second part here. We'll listen. It's only for one bar here, actually, in 23. Okay. So now we got our second B more break here. Let's figure out what's going on here. I think what we want is this part here. Let's find the kick. So this should line up here. Chop it here. It's pretty close. We'll do the same thing, do this rhythmic slicing. Okay, so now that that's in time, I think he's only using the second bar here. So I'll just put this over here, mute it, and I think it's more like this. I'll do the same effects here. This needs to be, I can copy this bit crusher over. Also do some EQ here. Okay. Just use the same EQ here for the sample. I'm gonna change the serum back to 24 so we get that higher thing, and then also this EQ is still too low. Should be like that. Okay, so the sample isn't chopped exactly how we did it, but you get the same effect. We just move these up so we can stay organized. Break 1, we'll call this one, and break 2, we'll call this one. Okay, so the only thing we're missing is that vocal sample. I'll try to find it, or maybe just chop it from here because it's exposed here. But yeah, let's listen to what we got so far. Nice, sounded pretty good. I think we can add this white noise sweep here for the little transition, but yeah, that's it for now. I'll make another video for the drop section.